Hi, good morning everyone. I hope you're all doing good. I'm really happy that you're all writing your assignments and also writing your answers in the notebook. I really appreciate the hard work. So keep it up. Today we are going to do a poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. This is a very popular poem and everybody studies this in school. Even I studied it when I was in school. So today I'm really happy to be teaching this to you. Now let's get familiar with the poet. Robert Frost is an American poet and he was a professor of English and winner of 4 Pulitzer Prizes. Born in 1874, Robert Frost is the most celebrated American poet. His poems are prescribed for study in various schools and colleges. His other famous poems are Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening and Mending Wall. What is more remarkable about him is that he's an often quoted poet, which means that the lines of his poems are quoted by other famous writers in their books, and very eminent people use the lines of his poems in their speeches. That is why he is called the often quoted poet. Frost was highly admired for his depictions of the American rural life and the countryside. But he was more than just a nature poet. He uses the countryside as a setting in many of his poems that explore philosophical and social themes. In this poem also, the poet is talking about his journey through a forest, and that journey actually symbolizes our life. Please take page 15 of Beehive. Let's start reading the poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. This is the first stanza. So let's try to understand it. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood. Diverged means separated, and yellow wood refers to the leaves on the trees that have turned yellow. And if you know the autumn season, then you should know that the leaves of trees turn yellow in autumn. So that is what is mentioned here. And sorry, I could not travel both, and be one traveller long I stood. So the poet is saying that he is travelling through a forest, and as he was walking, he reached a point where he had to take one road because the road was divided into 2, and he had to take any one road. So this actually represents the choices we make in life. So we also have some such situations in life where we are forced to make any one choice. So this is the situation that the poet is imagining here. And be one traveller long I stood. So he stood for a long time and he watched which road he should take, and looked down as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. So the undergrowth, as the meaning is given here, it refers to the dense growth of plants and trees. The traveller looked at the road for a long time, and he kept looking to the end of the road where it bent. This is to make a decision about which road to take. And here we find a similarity in our life also. When we have to make a decision, we will also stop and think for a long time about which decision to make, about which choice to make. Now we move on to the next stanza. Then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that passing there had warned them really about the same. So here the poet is saying that he looked at the two roads for a long time and then he decided to take the second road, the other one, because it had a better claim. And what's the better claim? Better claim means that that road had more grass on it. So it looked like nobody had walked on that road for some time. So he thought that he should take that road because it looked less traveled. Though as for that, the passing there, after passing through it, he looked back and he saw that now both the roads were looking the same. So let's read the stanza once again. Then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Because the second road or the other road looked more grassy and it wanted wear. Wanted wear means it was not so used. It was not walked upon. Though as for that, the passing there, so after passing through it, now it was also looking worn. Worn means it was also looking used. And it was looking the same. So now both the roads were looking the same. Okay, now we are on the third stanza. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. So here we understand that he is now thinking back on that day when he made that decision. So now he's thinking that on that morning, both the roads looked the same actually. Now he feels that they both equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. That means both the roads were covered with leaves. And if anybody had walked on them, the leaves would have turned black. So he's saying that no step had trodden black. That means both the roads were not used. Oh, I kept the first for another day. In the third stanza, we see that the traveler is thinking that he will come back to the same forest on another day and take the first road and experience that. But then he realizes that one way leads on to another way and that's how it goes. And we might not come back to the point where we began because we just continue in the same direction. So we see in the third line, oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should have ever come back. So he's also saying another point that he knew that if he took the second road, he might not come back to that point again. Now let's see what the poet is saying in the fourth stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. So here the poet is saying that he's going to think about this day and that decision that he took on that day. And he's going to think about it with a sigh. A sigh is an expression of regret. It's a deep breath that expresses a sadness or regret. Now the poet is thinking that he will later on in the future think about this day and realize that the decision he made on that day is what made the difference in his life. So here is the message that the important decisions that we make is what shapes our future. And that is what decides what we become in our future. Now that you have understood the poem, you can write down the answers to the questions given in the text in your notebook. We will be discussing the title, the theme, and the poetic devices used in this poem in our next class. So let's wind up today's class. Have a nice day.